If your clients aren't following through, I want you to know something really important. It is not your fault. It is their nervous system. So if your clients aren't getting the results, right? If they're not following through, if they're not sticking with the strategy, they're not sticking with the plan, I want you to know it has nothing to do with you're not a good enough coach, you're not a good enough practitioner. It's because you were never really taught to work with the nervous system, and that what's happening inside of them, this resistance, right, to achieving the result, to achieving the goal, to really doing the big impactful work that you're there to help them with. It is all because of their nervous system and a lot of the dysregulating patterns happening inside of them. So if you're a coach, you're a practitioner, you're a healer, you're a space holder, a leader, like whatever word we want to give to it, and you've ever wondered, why won't my clients just follow through with the plan? Why won't they do the thing that we talked about in our session? They were so excited to do, right? They were so on board. They were like, yes, let's go. And then you follow up and they're like, oh yeah, I haven't done it yet, right? It's like, what gives? Or the first moment it doesn't work and, they feel like, gosh, is this the right decision? Or maybe they just completely disappear. They're freezing, they're procrastinating, they backslide, right? Maybe they make some progress and then they backslide into old habits, old patterns. And you're like, goodness gracious, what is happening? This video is going to change everything you thought you knew about coaching, about follow through, about results, about transformation. Well, welcome to my channel. My name is Courtni Allison. I am a somatic and nervous system practitioner and coach. And before I got into this side of coaching and transformation, I was a fitness and nutrition coach. And my clients, they were getting incredible physical results. We had the fitness plan, we had the nutrition plan, they were doing the thing, they were getting the results, they were losing the weight, they were, fitting into clothes they hadn't fit into in years. And they were thriving, really, right? What I thought they were thriving begin to happen with these clients is I begin to have some deeper conversations, right? And that's part of like just how I am as a coach. Like I'm not here to just get you a result. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know how you're doing with it. Like I love just the deeper inner part of what's going on inside of them. And as we were beginning to have these conversations, I remember like being on my phone, having these conversations through text messages with a few different clients. And they're like, yeah, the results are great. I feel great. My clothes are fitting me. And also, I am wanting to go to emotional eating. Like anytime something gets hard, I'm turning to food. Or, yeah, I see the numbers are changed, but like I don't feel different, right? And they started to then backslide into old eating habits and old eating patterns and skipping workouts. And then they would lose, they would gain the weight back. And then they would be frustrated and they'd kind of be back to square one. And they'd come to me with all this. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's so much else going on under the surface. And at the time in my journey, like I had done some personal development. I was all for like, let's just change our mindset and, let's just change our behaviors. But I kept doing that with them and nothing was really sticking. It's like it would maybe help them. They would journal something out. They would, take a little mindset shift, but they were like, nothing's changing. I still feel not right with something. I began to realize there were all these deeper emotional layers and these internal limits that couldn't just be bypassed with traditional coaching work or traditional personal development work and mindset work and just, changing our behaviors. So as I kept seeing them revert to old habits and stop showing up, I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? I blamed myself. I felt like I was not a good enough coach. I felt like I maybe didn't have the right strategy for them. I didn't have the right tool belt for them, right? And I couldn't really help them go to those deeper levels that I was seeing pop up. And no amount of what I understood at that point was actually helping them navigate those really, really sticky layers that were being unearthed as they went through this growth, healing, transformation journey. I started to blame myself and I thought, man, am I not a good enough coach? Why is this not sticking? Okay. And now, after all these years of going down the path of, that's what really led me to learning about the nervous system, learning about the emotional layer and levels of our being. Looking back at that part of my journey, I realized it was not me. It was their nervous system. I had never been trained or understood at that point that we have to get our client's nervous system, get their body, get their emotional layer, their emotional level on board. This wasn't just me. I now have a somatic and nervous system transformation academy certification. And one of my recent graduates, Renee, told me the same exact thing. This is literally why she came to me many, many months ago and why she joined the certification, because she is an incredible coach, like very intuitive, very business minded, helping her clients with strategies and blueprints and helping them do this big transformation work, like kind of like their mission work, right? Of what they're here to do, start these incredible businesses. And she is amazing at what she does. But she started to see this same pattern happen with her clients of not following through, of not sticking with the plan, of she would give them these powerful mindset shifts and she'd give them all these journaling prompts, and she had these amazing strategies and branding and really step-by-step blueprints and plans for getting their maybe business or their soul work off the ground, right? And really scaling it and really taking it to these greater levels. And yet her clients weren't following through on the plan. They weren't maybe even taking the important action that they needed to do. And she told me, she came to me, she's like, I see these women's brilliance, like I see their unique genius, I believe in them. I know that, the amazing things they're here to do, but why won't they take the action? Why won't they move? Why won't they, believe in themselves? Why do they backslide? She came to me saying like, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I not a good enough coach? So again, she was questioning herself, just like I was doing many, many years ago. She started questioning her ability. She started questioning, her skill set, her strategies, all the things that had worked for her and had worked for many of her clients, but there were a bunch of other things happening. And she's like, what am I missing? And when she came into my space, we began diving into this emotional layer, right? And this body, nervous system, somatic layer. And she was like, OMG, this is the missing piece. This is the missing link of why, even in herself, she started to realize certain patterns of why she hadn't succeeded at a certain level and why she was, people pleasing and dimming her light and holding back in certain ways. And then she began to see, wow, this is why this client went into freeze mode. This is why this client stopped taking the action. This is why the client, didn't actually follow through on the blueprint, on the strategy. She realized it was never her coaching. It was never really her strategy. It all came down to their nervous system. The moment she began to work with her clients, soma, right, with their body, with their emotional layers, with the survival patterns that were really trapped inside of their body and were the cause of a lot of the ways that they were holding back, that's when everything changed for her clients. And I know from my experience, that's when everything started to change for my clients and for myself in general as well. Clients started taking the bold, aligned strategy action, and they started to get the most incredible business results. They stopped freezing. They stopped holding themselves back. They stopped procrastinating. They stopped getting caught in these overwhelm loops or the overthinking loops, and they started to really follow through. And they really stepped into these big dreams that they had been putting off to someday. And even, the reason why they hired her, they're like, oh, wow, now I know that you are the mentor that's going to help me go from not just A to B, but to actually feel like the confident, iconic woman that I desire to be. If you're watching this video, I want you to know, I want you to take those examples from my own journey and one of my graduates' journey of our clients' results, their follow through, the actions they put into place, the behaviors they have, even their mindset, their beliefs and their thoughts. It's not created by our mind. It really is created by that deeper level that's under the surface, that's in our body, that's in our nervous system. We go into, maybe business trainings, or we go into the certifications where we learn our skills. And a lot of it is taught as a strategy, as a protocol, as, very logic, right? Or, oh, you just need to reframe it this way. Or maybe there's a lot of like willpower and discipline and commitment that's brought into these spaces. But I want you to know that follow through is not a mindset issue. It's not, these resistance pieces that we get with our clients. It's not just because like, oh, they're not committed enough, they're not serious enough, they're lazy. It really is a nervous system capacity issue. Okay. A lot of times the growth journey, the transformation, any sort of healing, if that is a new experience for our people, if taking this, even if it's an aligned action, if that is like, oh, wow, I've never done this before. I don't know how to, necessarily be in that action. Or, it might pop up a lot of stories of what are people going to think about me? What if this happens, right? A lot of the fear based beliefs. Well, your body is under that surface of just what's here, kind of on the surface level of our mind. And your body is feeling a lot of things. And most likely, your client's body is perceiving these things, even if it's really amazing things like healing and growth and success. They're perceiving this as a threat. They're perceiving this as like danger, danger, we've never been here, I'm not sure how this is going to work out, right? So there's this level of uncertainty that our clients' bodies are feeling. And when it senses this threat, it goes into survival mode, right? And it goes into kind of maybe a shutdown, that freeze response, or it goes into this, fight response, or the fleeing response, right? So there's all these different levels of survival patterns that we'll dive into in a different video. But I want you to understand is the minute there's resistance, it's because the body has come online saying, this is a threat, we need to protect ourselves. When a client is freezing, procrastinating, spiraling, right, or not following through, that is their survival system. Okay. A lot of times we'll say, like, why do they keep self-sabotaging? Why do they keep holding themselves back? Right. And we've put that verbiage onto the survival patterns that their nervous system and body has learned over time that has kept them safe from pain, fear, discomfort in the past. They're freezing, right? It's like, I want to move, but I can't. They're shutting down, right? It's too much. I don't want to do it anymore. Or maybe there's a lot of overwhelm happening in them, right? Like we've given them a lot of protocols, we've given them a lot of strategies, we've given them so many, journaling prompts, and do this and do this and do this, and they're literally overwhelmed. And in that overwhelmed state, everything feels like too much. Everything feels like danger. Okay. And so a lot of coaches will misinterpret this as they're self-sabotaging. So they just need to, mindset, let's just get a different mindset shift in there. Or, it's lack of motivation. They just must not be committed enough. Or, there's a lot of limiting beliefs that come up for them, right? Like, I'm not good enough to do this. And you'll hear this, right? There's a lot of stories that will probably pop up for your clients. Well, these stories are simply the nervous system state speaking its way through our mind. Our nervous system state, if it's in this dysregulated place, that's what creates our story. That's what creates our beliefs about something. None of that resistance or that self-sabotage or, the limiting beliefs, none of those on the surface level can just be changed with like, oh, well, let's just change the behavior. Let's just change the mindset around it. It might work for a little bit, but again, I want you to see this as a very surface level thing. But deep under here is all the emotional layer. It's the subconscious, it's the nervous system. And this deeper layer is what's really, really running the show. So in our coaching, if we're just staying up here in the surface level and we're never getting to this deeper level, then we're not actually creating any sort of change. We're not creating any sort of cellular identity level, subconscious level transformation. And they might change a behavior, they might implement a strategy, but the minute something pops up that's hard for them to navigate or that feels like a threat, their system will go back into, you know, what it always knows to do. Follow through, right? The results that actually last, the not self-sabotaging, the clients that are not constantly backsliding or freezing or procrastinating, right? It requires one main thing. And this again is something that the coaching world never talks about. Okay. It requires one thing. It requires your nervous system to feel safe in making the change. It requires the nervous system to have a new level of safety in doing all of these things. When your client's nervous system has actually built this foundation of safety in messy action, safety in growth, safety in the unknown, in the uncertain, safety in the things that are really maybe scary or uncomfortable, that's when things really start to change for how they're showing up. So clients that feel safe will take bigger action. Clients that feel safe will learn to stay with the discomfort. They will, really integrate what you teach, right? So they're going to take that strategy or those protocols or whatever you're helping them with and start to really put them into different aligned embodied action. Okay. They're not going to spiral. They're not going to just freeze and disappear when things get hard. And this is because we have now brought in that deeper level. We've brought that into the equation. We've brought that into the journey. And that's where a lot of coaches fail. And it's okay, right? Like that is exactly what I experienced for many, many years in my health and fitness coaching. It's like I was trying to coach up here with the strategies, with the protocols, with just some mindset shifts. But all along, it was the subconscious, the nervous system, the body level that was dictating how they showed up. And so nothing I did really stuck until I brought that deeper level to the surface for us to start, working with. And we really started to bring the nervous system and the emotional level, the subconscious level on board. And the same thing with my client, my graduate, when she started bringing the client's body into the equation. Hey, how is this landing for you? What's going on inside of your body? Okay, let's work on this, discomfort that you're feeling. Like she really started working with their emotional state. She started working with the deeper nervous system states that they were experiencing. And as she rebuilt their sense of safety and connection and, all of the things that I teach in my certification, that's when they were like, oh my gosh, that resistance that I used to have, it's gone. It's disappeared. Want you to listen to, not that it's not good enough. It's just we're missing this very important piece of the equation, right? We're missing this, like the actual mechanisms behind transformation and growth. And a lot of times we try to leave out the nervous system, but it literally is the deepest layer of what creates the thoughts, of what creates the behaviors, of what creates all of the patterns in which, like the unconscious patterns in which we are living and feeling out in our life. Nervous system runs the behavior. The body is running the follow through of your clients. And when you learn to work on that level, that's when your clients don't just get that A to B result, right? It's like, oh, they came to me, we did this, and they, lost weight or they healed or they started, building the business. They don't just get a result that then can easily, you know, backslide. They literally evolve as a person. They heal deeper emotional wounds that have been under the surface, right? Picking at them, running the show. They heal these dysregulated states. They, shift and transform these survival patterns that have maybe been running unconsciously since they were a child. And now they're able to transform those at a very deep cellular, wired level. We're literally rewiring our client's nervous system when we begin bringing these sort of things forward. And It doesn't matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter the niche. We're all working with humans. And so every single human has a nervous system. So the more we can understand the nervous system, the emotions, um, all of these deeper level states, that's when the true shifts can occur. This is the last thing that I want to say with this. And I fully believe that we are standing at the edge of what I like to call the somatic revolution in the coaching industry, in the wellness industries, in the leadership industries. And I have seen it for so many years that coaching has lived in the mind. It's lived in the just take massive action, just change your behavior, just change your habits. And, mindset and motivation and strategy, you just think better, right? Just control your emotions and all of that. I really feel like that era is coming to an end, and our clients feel it and we feel it. We know that there's something deeper at play. There's something deeper that we're here to really create and build with our work, but also in our clients. The fact that the body has been left out of the equation for so long has been a disservice to the amazing work that a lot of coaches and healers and practitioners and leaders have done. And so I want you to really, really understand that our clients don't need more strategies. They don't need more protocols. They don't need more mindset hacks and journaling prompts and all of the things. They need more nervous system capacity. They need more nervous system healing and more nervous system rewiring at the deeper level, right? They don't need more motivation or hype or just, you just got to overcome it and be committed. They need more reconnection to themselves, more reconnection to what does safety and regulation and all of these things in the body actually feel like. I fully believe that the industry is waking up. Hallelujah. And practitioners, coaches, they're feeling this gap. Really, their clients, your clients, are craving something deeper. They're craving greater connection back to themselves, to trust, to confidence, to courage, to their intuition. This cannot truly be found in the strategies and the protocols. It's found inside of them, inside of their body. Okay. And so the old paradigm of coaching is collapsing. Like I'm literally seeing it in real time. And the future is somatic. It's body led. This is really the revolution. I'm calling it the revolution that you're being invited into, where transformation is happening at this cellular identity level, not just in taking more action and doing things, but in who we're being. Okay. This revolution where the nervous system is becoming the basis of all coaching, truly the foundation of it. Okay. This is really the coaches that learn this work will be the leaders of this next era of the coaching industry. You're still here, you know that your body is one of them, right? Your body knows this is where I'm supposed to go. This is where I'm supposed to be. If you feel this, if you're like, oh my gosh, you spoke so directly to me, this is exactly what I've been experiencing. This is kind of that understanding and that knowing. Maybe you've even, done some little somatic or nervous system trainings, or it's just kind of become something that you've realized, like, this is a missing piece in my business. I have a free training called the Transformation Code that kind of dives deeper into what's really going on inside of our clients and why this is this missing piece. And also, I'm currently enrolling the next cohort of my Embodied Transformation Academy certification. This is a 12-month certification for coaches and leaders who really want to step into this work and infuse it into the work that they're already doing so that you can truly be catalysts in this next era and really be these leaders of transformation in whatever industry, whatever niche that you're in. Okay, so go ahead. I put those in the description below, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.